Welcome back, everybody, to the Pinnacle Services webinar series. I am your host, Ryan Diver, and I am very excited to be joined by Rick Treleaven from SoftBank Robotics. Rick, how are you doing today?
I'm doing great, Ryan. Thanks for having me.
I'm very excited to be talking to you today just because, we've been very infatuated and interested about robotics and kind of what they mean for cleaning, especially in the healthcare space that, we at Pinnacle are in. But I just wanted to give the audience a chance to learn a little bit more about yourself, SoftBank, and kind of what you guys have going on there.
Yeah, absolutely. So, quick background on myself. I've been with SoftBank Robotics, the Americas group specifically, for about 6 years at this point. Our robotics group is a subsidiary of SoftBank Group. SoftBank Group is a tech conglomerate based out of Japan. It serves a wide range of different functions. So, for example, we have a telecom arm that services, the Japanese market. What we're most well known for is our investment arm. Now, due to a series of different acquisitions and then investments in robotic technology, that gave birth to our robotics group, which has been around for a little over 10 years.
Wow, that's awesome. So, can you talk to us more about kind of where you see robotic cleaning fitting into the future workforce for EVS teams?
Yeah, it's a great question. We've been seeing it quite a bit over the last 6 years, and every organization is motivated and driven by a different outcome. Sometimes it is a matter of showcasing innovation. Probably the biggest driver is, helping alleviate staff at this point. There's so many more things that need to be done. The labor isn't there. All right, so how do you pave the way for teams to do more with less? And automation is that pathway. We're seeing that entry path through automating in floor care. So if we can help an organization streamline and automate floor care, that will then allow them to go and tackle more higher intense project work. So again, we're here to offset and allow teams to do more. So you can guarantee that, all right, we know that our floors are going to be taken care of. That means that over X number of period of hours a day or week or amount of square footage, all right, that's going to allow us to go and tackle other project work.
Yeah, and I think you touched on something really interesting there, which was alleviating the stress on the current EVS teams, right? And I think when you're dealing with technology as forward thinking as robotics is, you're probably going to run into a lot of misconceptions from the teams that you're kind of introducing this to. Can you kind of show what the most common misconceptions are, and then how do you really address those when you're implementing these into a property?
Yeah, I think the two biggest misconceptions right now are safety and affordability. Now that there's let's tackle this in two different sides. So like in manufacturing, for example, like robots are often in caged environments for safety. Service robotics, which we're deploying in healthcare settings, they're fundamentally different. They're ultimately designed to work alongside of people. Again, in settings like healthcare, airports, schools, hotels, offices. And the reason we can do that is because these robots operate in a pre-mapped environment. They can be stopped instantly with a button, and they're supported by simple training, maintenance, and workflows. In modern robotics new era robotics, they're using advanced sensor technology. So they're detecting obstacles and they stop automatically. And that allows them to be safer, more predictable, approachable. I'll give you an example. I was actually in a major airport not too long ago. And one of the biggest misconceptions is that robotic units can only operate when there's no one around. We actually had an automated floor scrubber proactively working in baggage claim as you had hundreds of people and thousands of people throughout the day maneuvering in an environment, collecting their baggage at a major airport while an autonomous unit was practically scrubbing around them. It's because of, the safety mechanisms, the pre-mapped functions that and the sensor technology that's on board that paves that way. I mentioned affordability as well. We're at a point because of economies of scale that these units are economically feasible now. They deliver real labor competitive business results. And we're also at a point where we're actually seeing immediate tax savings. Organizations can actually deduct the full cost of robotic equipment in the year that it's deployed. Now, I do recommend you consulting with a tax professional around this, but it's something that we are seeing now today.
Yeah, right. You actually kind of touched a little bit on my next question, which I'm happy about because I'm hoping that there's more. But going off of two main ways that uh, robotics can like greatly improve the sites that they're in. I was wondering if you had a different example outside of the airport one, which was fantastic, where you deployed robotics into a property and they like the change that you saw in there.
Yeah, that we have plenty of real world examples across many different verticals. And again, I think it's always what's the outcome that the entity is trying to achieve? Is it overall cleanliness? Is it the amount of efficiency of cleaning? So, for example, we have major universities that they had a break even ROI under 9 months with robots averaging, 50 hours of runtime per week. We have service providers that are ranging from deploying in everywhere from healthcare settings to airports, where, hey, in some cases, they're covering, millions of square foot of space and they're driving a 30% increase in labor efficiency. And then we have other environments where they're seeing a 2x overall improvement in cleanliness. And that's transforming, you know, the overall look and feel of the facility.
Yeah, I think that's really impressive to see how many different types of properties that can this can be applied to, but also kind of meet the standards for each specific property. So bringing it back to that, I just kind of wanted to know how, for something like what we deal with in healthcare EVS, how do you ensure that these machines stay within the regulatory compliance that, it's pretty strict uh, across the board there?
I think we always want to have an understanding of what those requirements are. First and foremost, our role is we're acting as an orchestrator. And so, again, like we need to understand what the customer's environment is, what their outcomes are, the workflows, their objectives, and then we can then help them select and then deploy the best fit technology for that use case, for that outcome, for those requirements. We want to make sure that that is aligning with their existing standards, their protocols, their operational realities, ultimately while enabling consistent and repeatable outcomes.
Yeah, and I think that's like really important for anybody who's thinking about implementing robotics, that they know that they're not going to lose a level of quality that they're hoping to maintain that they're already used to. Is that this is, like you said before, a way to alleviate your current teams and just kind of ensure that there is no misses possible with the mapping, with the routing and everything that can be planned with these. Um, I always kind of like to end these by looking ahead. So I'm just kind of curious if there's anything that from, working directly with the robotics, that if there's anything, you see on the rise within the next 2 to 3 years of kind of what could be possible. I'm just always curious about that.
Yeah, it's a really exciting time. We're entering probably the most important technological shift since the internet. We have a convergence of AI, automation, and robotics, and it's often referred to as physical AI. And robotics is no longer about innovation for innovation's sake. It's about redefining work. So, how are we automating tasks that are ultimately dull, dangerous, dirty, repetitive? Now, I think over the next 3 to 5 years, the focus is going to be on deployment at scale, integrating robotics into workflows, again, proving that ROI. We have to keep that going, driving adoption. These programs are not going to work unless there is top to bottom embracement of adoption. And organizations that embrace this shift are going to see those meaningful gains, like in efficiency, ESG, cost predictability, valuation. Now, one of the reasons that we've been talking so much about floor care is that it's the most prime time ready. But we're starting to see that physical AI is we're on the cusp of expansion into areas like lawn care, window washing, logistics, material handling. Robots are becoming dexterous enough that we can handle nuanced real world tasks and adapted environments. And long term, humans are going to be able to move into roles more centered on design, oversight, human interaction, managing fleets of robotics, data-driven workflows. And companies that are going to adopt robotics could actually see 10x or greater EBITDA improvements, while those who don't are going to risk falling behind. So those who lean into it are going to see those results, and those who are a bit more laggards, they're going to fall behind very quickly.
Yeah, wow, that's pretty interesting. Like the already just recording this, I'm just like, wow, I have my title card. You know what I mean? Companies who don't adapt are gonna fall behind and everything like that. I think that's really interesting. Rick, I thank you so much for being here. If you want to let everybody know where they can reach you or learn more about SoftBank Robotics.
Ryan, thanks again for having me. Yeah, the two best ways to reach us are our website, us.softbankrobotics.com. And then you can also find us on LinkedIn. SoftBank Robotics America is our page.
Awesome. Rick, I thank you once again. Everybody listening, thank you for tuning in to another webinar, and we hope to see you again for the next one. Thank you.